Hello, and welcome to a gameplay commentary. Well, an attempt at a gameplay commentary, anyway. So, this is a Viktor game I had recently, and it was a good game, for me anyway. I suppose that's why I wanted to record it. Got to show off and whatever. I mean, it's not really anything worth showing off at the end of the day. It's not a particularly high elo game, of course. I'm not even playing in ranked. I'm not even ranked currently, as a matter of fact. But, yeah, that's just sort of a little bit of disclosure, so I'm not trying to make this seem any more impressive than it is, which isn't particularly impressive, but it was a good game for me, and it was a game in which I dealt with a couple of my larger problems, at the very least, which is running in and dying a lot. I haven't died by the end of the game. Fairly short game. Furthermore, my CSing was better, and those are my two main problems. Map awareness is another one, but whatever. And I'm just going to sort of talk about what sort of game this was for Viktor. And I'm just going to talk about Viktor. Anyway, sort of his general place in League of Legends. And right now. Anyway, so it's a Viktor versus Veigar matchup. You see I took some dumbass hits there, but it doesn't really matter. I don't miss any CS for the trouble. So it's actually a matchup that I actually like. I'm quite familiar with it, and I think that it's one that Viktor wins fairly easily, mainly because his CC is easier to hit than Veigar's, his abilities are easier to hit than Veigar's. At the end of the day, he's got more range, and I'd say he's got more killing power. Like, Veigar has to hit his W in order to deal the damage for his Q to execute the enemy. If he doesn't, he's got no ability to do so, in my opinion, until like late game where his ability power is overwhelming. Whereas Viktor, his ult still deals flat damage, regardless of how much damage you've already done. And there's a couple of times in the game where that'll become quite evident. But indeed, it's a matchup that I like. I used to like it a lot less back when Veigar's ultimate did damage based on your AP, because of course as a mage that's basically a death sentence, because how do you do anything if you don't build AP? Can't just become a tank. But it's a good matchup, and that's all I'm gonna say. That in fact, I don't think a stun was ever landed on me. I don't think so. I mean, this game was a couple of days ago now. Memories aren't perfect for it, but seeing as I never died, I'd say that's a pretty good indication. Either way, it's not an easy ability to hit Veigar's W anyway, and you're not necessarily wanting to hit it. But I realise now I'm talking more about Veigar than I am about Viktor, which is what I set out to talk about. So anyway, his sort of general place in League of Legends. You always see him sort of come out at Worlds. I mean, I didn't watch this year's Worlds, but he's a bit of a mainstay there because he brings a lot to the table. He's got a lot of area damage, he's got some pretty good single damage, he's got CC of course, so he can fit into most team comps. He's got good wave clear, which is great. I mean, like, he doesn't truly excel at many things, but he does very well in those things. So he's not got as good single target assassination capacities as Syndra might. He doesn't have the overwhelming teamfight presence that Orianna might, and he doesn't have the wave clear that Anivia might, but he's got a lot going on, and he's got something for everything, which means that there are so few team comps that Viktor doesn't fit into. He works with poke, he works with team fight. I'd say he works with hard engage, because once you've got the upgrade of his Q, you get the speed boost on it, which allows him to chase quite effectively. He works with kite. All you need to do is build a Rylai's, and all of a sudden you've got like slows coming out literally constantly. And that's what I think makes him quite so strong. I'll be honest, I may have misremembered which of Veigar's abilities do what, but when I say that he never hit his W on me, I'm assuming that his W is a stun. I don't actually play Veigar, never have, but I've sort of seen the matchup, I've played the matchup enough times to know how it goes, at the very least. As for Viktor's place currently, I wouldn't say it's the best place he's ever been, but it's certainly not the worst. It's been a while since I've been playing. I sort of stopped playing League for about 6 months, and I came back, and it sort of felt like I was struggling to deal damage. Like, even when it came to late game, especially against tanks, despite building pen items, and I've never recalled having that kind of problem. So, who knows? I don't think Viktor's been significantly nerfed. I haven't checked, of course. Perhaps I should have before making this, but it doesn't really matter. But it could just be that tank items are stronger. I mean, Riot does press for the tank meta, because what's good against tanks? Not really ADCs, it's more like teamwork. I can't remember who said that, but yeah, it's a fair thing to say anyway, in any case. Tanks struggle against well-organized teams. It's not really ADCs, like, it's quite the opposite. Like, that you're an idiot if you believe that an ADC beats a tank. No, organized play beats a tank, because, well, it just does, I suppose. It's kind of hard to explain, like, that tank goes into a team fight, a tank initiates a team fight. And if the tank isn't backed up, and the enemy efficiently manages to curtail this tank, then the tank becomes useless. The tank dies quickly, despite being a tank, because even with the tank meta being good, you can't survive forever. And if you are properly sort of pushed to a side or whatever, avoid it, I guess, by a well-kiting enemy team. Manage to keep their damage dealers out of your reach. Well, you become less useful. Yeah, I don't think much is going on in the matchup currently. I did want to press a sort of early aggression on the Veigar, knowing that I had better range than him and would probably have an easier time of inflicting my damage. But, yeah, I couldn't really push anything. He's gone for a defensive summoner spell, Barrier. And I'm not sure why he stuck around after this. Like, he keeps putting himself in sort of awkward situations. Like, he's surely got to realise, if he doesn't hit the W, I'm going to be able to punish him a lot more easily than he can punish me. Like, even if I'm out of position, I can deal more damage than him right now. Effectively. Because he won't hit the W on me as long as I'm not stunned. So I don't see why he keeps fighting me after he's missed the stun. Don't even think my first kill was on the Veigar. I feel like it was on the Lee Sin. But, I haven't got it yet. I took a stupid tower hit there anyway. But yeah, I feel, of course, there are mages that are in the meta right now. There's Orianna, who's quite strong. And I think that is because team fighting is becoming quite prevalent right now. And Viktor's, well, I haven't seen any other than myself at the moment. But then again, that's pretty regular beforehand as well. Like, you tend to see him after Worlds, or I did at least after, like, World Series of 2015. Because he saw some play there, of course. In fact, I Actually, no, that was what reminded me that I liked playing Viktor. So, speak of the devil. But yeah, my personal build on Viktor goes along the lines of, well, currently, maxing out the Hex Core first, because the first upgrade is the most important, and the second upgrade is good, and now that the third upgrade is so cheap, it's worth getting, because it gives you good scaling into late game. It can give you up to 180 AP once you get to level 18, so it's like 10 extra AP per level. It's pretty good. Only costs 750. Back when each individual upgrade cost 1,000 each, I sometimes only got the first 2 upgrades, depending upon whether I wanted to get my next item sooner. Because I'm actually a fan of building Lichbane on Viktor, because it gives your Q auto attack proc a lot of burst. Ah yes, here's a bit of me and Lee Sin heading towards the fight, and we just sort of bump into one another. He misses his Q, and it makes it rather easy for me to just, well, clap him, pretty much. And then the Veigar decides to fight. I'm actually very surprised that that stun didn't hit me. It looked like it did. But because it didn't, and I didn't get hit by that dark matter, I managed to kill him. I don't even think I ulted for that. I'm not sure. No, I didn't. But yeah, that's the thing. That's one of the reasons why I bought boots quite early, and why I well, actually buy Mercury treads now. I'm just sort of thinking to myself, I'm going to make this Veigar's life miserable. And yeah, I kind of do. I think he does get a kill on the end. It's not on me, of course. Can't remember who it is. I get the feeling it's a Tristana. Just because she'd be the easiest to kill. Because ADCs currently don't really... Well, they don't have a huge amount of defensive options, and especially like first defensive items early in the game, like, you don't build them. But yeah... I only received one gank from the enemy jungler, as in, like, he only came to my lane once, and that was the early one that we've already seen. And it feels like I could have been shut down a lot more effectively. Now this, I do get a kill here, not that I deserve it. I sort of flash Q auto, and that was basically all I had to do for it. But I feel like it's better to do it than to get away. Let the Lee Sin get away. The Veigar comes down, but by this point it's already too late. We outnumber them because we've killed the jungler, of course. And even if we hadn't, we still could have won the fight, because he was low on health, so couldn't do much. Yeah, again, I was kind of surprised that W there didn't hit me, that dark matter. I don't believe we get the kill here because of the box. Obviously, it's not the box, but, you know, Event Horizon. But, yeah, I was talking about my build, and I sort of digressed there, as I tend to. But yeah, it goes somewhere along the lines of max out Hexcore first, and then Rylai's, then into Lichbane. And, yeah, there's my kill on the Veigar. Just sort of came out of position, and it made it very easy for me to hit my stun. But after that, it becomes situational. I mean, whether I get the Lichbane or the Rylai's first will depend. If there's someone that I really need to kite, it's definitely the Rylai's. But if someone squishy is like jumping on my face, but I reckon I can kill them, I go for the Lichbane. Of course, in some matchups, I'll go for Zhonya's Hourglass earlier. I don't like to, but I sometimes have to. Just because, I don't know, against a Zed, who I've actually been making a point of banning when I play mid recently, it just makes his life so much harder. It makes it harder for him to kill me. And I think that's worthwhile, because well, it kind of forces him to attack the AD carry, and if the AD carry is not present, then it means he has to burn some abilities on killing me. Ah yes, here we go. And Tryndamere's over the wall, of course. The Veigar wasn't aware of that. Surprisingly, my Deathfire touch actually kills him there. I realised Deathfire touch isn't particularly, maybe not the best item. Ah, here's somewhat interesting fight. I mean, I don't manage to do the best I think I could have done here. I was trying to keep the Tryndamere alive here just by getting in the way of the Lee Sin Q. I sort of headed back in, and
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
I feel like I could have done better there. Here, I don't know. I get 2 kills, but it feels like, I don't know. Yeah, I put my W down and I ult, and I realise, oh hang on, I've got no fucking mana. Just like, the Deathfire kills him again, and then the ult proc finally ticks off and kills him, and I got very lucky there that I managed to kill him. Alawi's still hanging around. She like loops around the bottom of the Baron Dragon Pit, and obviously looking for a steal. Jungler isn't here currently, so she could do it. And I sort of go around looking for her. I don't want to get caught out, so I laser the bush. And then I see her there, and she goes over, and I'm a bit late, and I sort of waddle around a bit. But Urgot kills them really easily, because they're on low health. And then there goes the Tristana killing the Veigar as well. Currently I'd say there are better choices to play in mid than Viktor. I went for the Rylai's this game. Actually, I don't think I've... Yeah, I just finished my Hexcore. I think I finished them both at once. I sort of delayed it because I wanted to buy... Oh yeah, because I couldn't afford it on the back, so I just bought an Amplifying Tome and then kind of forgot about finishing my Hexcore until I got the Rylai's. Yeah, I think Rylai's is a really good item on Viktor, and I don't think there's much argument to be had there. At the end of the day, none of his damaging abilities do any slow, which is ideal. It's exactly the same as on Mordekaiser. There's no wasted effectiveness, so to speak. His single CC ability deals no damage, and his other damaging abilities do no CC, so it's ideal. And it helps you to hit the ticks of your ult better. And I don't know, I just find it quite satisfying to walk around CCing things. Like the speed boosts that your Q grants it just allows you a far greater amount of mobility in combat than you'd have otherwise, especially compared to your opponents. And here's a good fight because I managed to like keep the Alawi off of the Urgot, and by this point my Q's on such a low cooldown that I can just spam the hell out of it. You can see the Alawi's pinging the Veigar that he didn't follow up. Yeah, I sort of gave up on the golems there. He was just like, this is taking so much time, I could just take the tower instead. Hence why we don't see many Viktor jungles, of course. Otherwise it would be unbeatable. I wouldn't play Viktor jungle, even if it were good, mainly because I really, really don't like jungle. I wasn't sure what that was. Like when I saw it, and sort of me and Lee Sin sort of walking into each other, it was just like... I'm still trying to be cautious. He might be 0-6, and at the time I wasn't quite conscious of how underfed he was. But he's still an assassin. I don't want to fuck with them, just because principle, I guess. And just like, I was literally saying right then, at that moment in the game, I do remember, I was saying, come on, be that every Lee Sin player. At this point, this is good for me, because really great team fight, very nice W from me there. Or at least I thought it was, because I caught 3 people, that's pretty good. I don't think, yeah, my ult wasn't up at the time, so I obviously would have been best to throw that on, but without it, what can I do? I'll be honest, I suffer from this sort of weird feeling whenever I play Viktor that I don't want to use the Creator Viktor skin because it's a really good skin and I'm worried I'm not going to like play well enough to feel like I deserve it. And it's just like this dumbass paranoia that I have. Miss Forge is very lucky there that she's got the Janna shielding her and whatever. And that's the end of the game.
Red team's turret has been
I thought it was a good game. Perhaps at some point I'll upload some bad games, but it's just like when it comes to post-commentary, I just want to flatter myself at the end of the day. But thank you for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, congratulations! You have my thanks and my surprise.